Welcome to Technology Paul. It's that time of year. The new iPhones are out. This year, I'm reviewing the iPhone 15. I took a look at the new lineup and I've decided that I'm personally going to stick with my iPhone 14 Pro Max for another year. However, my partner needs a phone upgrade. She's currently using the iPhone 13 mini, so we got her the iPhone 15. The only catch when we buy technology in our house is that I have to review it first. So I'll be passing this to her pretty soon. On a side note, my partner most likely would have gotten an iPhone 15 mini if Apple had continued that line. I guess she was one of the few people out there who appreciated the mini lineup. As you can see from the unboxing, it's a simple experience. Apple has reduced their packaging and what you get is basically a phone, a USB-C cable, and a SIM ejector tool. The process of transferring your data from one phone to another is pretty easy these days. Apple allows you to set the two phones side by side to do a wireless data transfer. And just like that, you're up and running. It's like having your old phone on your new phone. I even have my background on my phone just like that. Speaking of this background, it's an official Technology Paul background that's available for my newsletter subscribers. I'll tell you how you can get this background and others at the end of the video. So what's new on the iPhone 15 anyway? Let's jump into it. We can start with the outside and work our way in. The first thing I noticed when I opened it up was the matte black finish, which I find very appealing. Apple is using aluminum for the frame of the phone and what they call a color-infused glass back. It makes for a very nice finish and the glass also feels good in the hand. Whatever coating technique they use here works well for me. The other big thing you'll notice on the outside of the phone is the new USB-C port. Goodbye, Lightning. This is obviously a big change for Apple's phones, which have sported the Lightning port for over a decade. But it was also something we knew was coming. The new EU regulations dictate a standard charging port for smartphones, and that standard is USB-C. So Apple's hands were kind of tied here. But Apple has been using USB-C for several years on their Macs and some of the iPad lineup. So ultimately, they're no strangers to it. The big advantage most people will find with USB-C on the iPhone is the simple fact that most devices share this standard. So when you're heading on a trip or something, you only need to take one charger with you instead of multiple. Or if you need to borrow a charger from a friend, it's likely going to work with your phone even if they use an Android, because guess what? You both have USB-C charging ports. There are other advantages too, like expanded peripheral connectivity options, like connecting drives, microphones, and other accessories. And you'll be able to do so with fewer adapters and dongles, so that's always a win. The new USB-C connector even allows users to charge AirPods directly with the iPhone 15 lineup. You'll need the new AirPods case with a USB-C port to make that work. The display is the same Super Retina XDR display with a resolution of 460 pixels per inch and a refresh rate of 60 Hz. Apple still hasn't put a dynamic refresh rate display into its main iPhone lineup and instead reserves its ProMotion technology for the Pro model phones. Now, I know a lot of tech pundits out there lament this fact, but the reality is that most users truly can't tell much of a difference between a 60 Hz display and a 120 Hz display. But for me, it's not about the smoothness of the graphics. There's a bigger missed opportunity in the always-on display that the Pro models get. One of the first things I notice, and which I miss coming from my iPhone 14 Pro Max, is the always-on display. I personally love the always-on display on the Pro models, and it's kind of disappointing you don't get it on the standard lineup. It's the ProMotion dynamic refresh rate that enables this because the always-on display needs to run at roughly 1 Hz. For me, I love seeing the time and the quick glanceable info from the lock screen widgets. Since Apple often takes last year's Pro model features and brings them down to the standard models the following year, I figured there would be a chance that the iPhone 15 would have ProMotion this year, along with the always-on display, but alas, we may have to wait another year for that. The iPhone 15 does sport an improved peak brightness of 1000 nits, which is better than the 800 nits on the iPhone 14. The peak brightness increases up to 2000 nits in a bright outdoor setting as well, so you should have have no problem seeing the display even on a bright and sunny day. Sticking to the display, there's another new addition with the highly discussed Dynamic Island. Apple, of course, debuted the Dynamic Island last year on the Pro model phones, but now everyone can experience it for themselves, no matter which model they buy. Apple has touted the Dynamic Island as having a more aesthetically pleasing and streamlined appearance compared to the notch on previous phones. There's certainly been quite a bit of debate about that, and not everyone agrees that it looks better overall. That said, the reason it's called the Dynamic Island is because of how the overall look, shape, and interface of it changes depending on the user activities. It can morph from the simple black pill, which wraps around the front camera, proximity sensors, and IR sensors, to become a wider interface to show the user important information. It is usually contextual depending on different live activities. For example, if you set a timer, the Dynamic Island shows you the timer progress, so you know exactly how long you have left at any point. If you start playing music, you get your album cover shown in the island, and can long press to access music controls easily. If you have two different live activities happening at once, the Dynamic Island can show you both by changing from a pill shape to more of a sideways exclamation mark with the two distinct shapes at the top of the screen. My take is that this is a nice addition to the iPhone 15. I think a lot of folks would rather just have a simple hole punch camera like on many Android phones, which would take up even less space than this. But Apple has the absolute best face unlock technology in the market, and they need these sensors on the front of the phone to make this happen. So I understand why Apple goes with the Dynamic Island, and it certainly looks and functions better than the notch that came before it. Inside the iPhone 15, you get the A16 Bionic system on a chip, which features a 6-core CPU, 5-core GPU, and a 16-core neural engine. This is the same chip that's in the iPhone 14 Pro, and it's about 20% faster and 10% more efficient than the A15 that was in the previous model. Of course, the previous A15 was no slouch either, and I doubt most folks will notice a huge difference in performance because their use cases just don't push the chip to its max performance. That said, you'll get the benefit when it comes to gaming. Gaming on the latest iPhone is smooth and fast. Lag is not something you're going to experience. That said, the A16 Bionic is not the fastest chip that you can get. If you opt for the iPhone 15 Pro, you get upgraded to the A17 Pro, Apple's latest chip running on a 3nm architecture. If you're serious about gaming or performance-intensive tasks, you'll want to get the Pro. The A17 Pro is up to 43% faster than the A16. In fact, Apple says the iPhone 15 Pro can run console-class video games, and has even confirmed several console-class titles coming soon. Titles like Death Stranding Director's Cut, Resident Evil 4 Remake, Resident Evil Village, The Division Resurgence, and Assassin's Creed Mirage. That said, I still reckon that almost every possible game you can get on the App Store will run perfectly fine on the iPhone 15. And it's still far ahead of comparable phones on the market in this category. Now let's talk about the camera. The iPhone's main camera has finally been upgraded to a 48 megapixel sensor. This means that you can take super high resolution photos at a full 48 megapixels if you desire. That said, Apple also offers the option to shoot in 24 megapixels, which is still a very high resolution photo, but takes up less space. To take a 48 megapixel photo, you'll need to go to camera settings, then formats, and enable resolution control. Then in the camera app, enable HEIF Max, and you're shooting at 48 megapixels. The iPhone now has what Apple calls next generation portraits, with focus and depth control. The iPhone 15 automatically captures depth information when a person, dog, or cat is detected, eliminating the need to switch to portrait mode manually. And users can now toggle which person or pet is the focus of the image after taking a photo in portrait mode. Plus, you can quickly change a photo to portrait mode and enable portrait mode after shooting. Additionally, the iPhone 15 now features 2x optical zoom. This is unlocked through the new 48 megapixel camera sensor, which can crop in and give you a true 2x telephoto image. This isn't quite as good as what you get with the Pro Max, which has a 5x telephoto option, but still, it's a welcome improvement. So we've spoken a lot about the new features that are available improvements over last year's model. However, most people are on a 2-year upgrade cycle, as is my partner who's getting this new phone. That's an even bigger leap in terms of functionality. For example, if you're coming from the iPhone 13, you're getting the benefits we've already discussed, such as moving from a notch to a dynamic island, moving from the A15 chip to the A16 chip, and moving from a 12 megapixel main camera to 48 megapixels. However, you're also getting the new safety features of crash detection and emergency SOS via satellite. If you're coming from the iPhone 13 mini, you're moving from a 5.4-inch display to 6.1 inches and adding about 3 hours of battery life. One slight negative is that it's also 31 grams heavier than the mini. We've already spoken about some of the advantages of the 15 Pro models versus the regular 15, like the 5x telephoto lens and the Pro Motion, always on display. However, there's a couple more. For one thing, the USB-C port on the Pro supports USB 3 speeds, which are up to 20 times faster for data transfer. The Pro also starts at 256 gigabytes of storage instead of 128 gigabytes. And the Pro Max has 9 more hours of battery life. So needless to say, if you're a heavy phone user with a demanding workload, the iPhone 15 Pro Max is the way to go. If you're a normal smartphone user, you're going to be very happy with the iPhone 15. As with most years, there isn't a huge need to upgrade if you have an iPhone 14. The real noticeable differences will be apparent if you're upgrading from an iPhone 13 or earlier. Overall though, I think the iPhone 15 is a great phone. The only really big miss, in my opinion, is the lack of always-on display, which I've grown accustomed to on my iPhone 14 Pro Max. That said, if you've never had that feature before, you won't miss it now. But hopefully Apple will add it next year. That's all from me. What do you think of the iPhone 15? Did you get your hands on one? Or did you opt for the Pro? Or are you skipping a generation? Let me know what you think in the comments. As I said earlier, my newsletter subscribers get exclusive access to cool stuff like this pack of wallpapers. Get these for free just by signing up for my monthly newsletter. From there, you'll get access to my members page where you can get these cool wallpapers. Plus, my monthly newsletter talks more about tech and features a sneak peek into upcoming videos, articles I've written, and cool tech stories that are curated by me. Sign up in the link below. If you're still here, give this video a like as it helps other people find this content. Plus, subscribe for more Technology Paul. Lots more reviews are on the way. I cover all kinds of tech, including smart homes, home entertainment, smartphones, and subscription services. So hit subscribe and come along for the ride. Thanks as always for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.